No,
That's why I
it's
fucking
broken.
I fucked up. Oh well. There we
Hello.
are.
So they can hear the part where you sing.
Probably.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi there, and welcome to Relationship Rehab. I am Lee.
And I'm Paul.
I'm Paul. Yes, it's a new name.
Yeah. I'm just breaking it in right now.
And it's Friday.
Oh.
Something. It's February
20. Oh, it's
24th.
right there. 4th, yeah.
24th of 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on?
I don't know.
Last week we had some
kinds
really
of
great.
stuff.
Yeah, last week we had some really great guests. Lavera and David Miller, the writers of Womanopause,
Mm-hmm.
and that set off a whole bunch of conversation.
Oh, yeah.
In my world,
Yes.
as a,
Had
mature woman.
Right. Had to talk to her sister.
Yeah, I talked to my
yeah.
mom. I didn't have to talk to my mom about menopause, but consulted her and her opinions, and talked to my sister, who immediately went, "Oh my gosh!" And then she already made an appointment, and talked to friends, and yeah, that's an important subject, and we don't talk about it. So, and that's what we do here on Relationship Rehab. We talk about relationships. Yeah, that might sound like some sort of medical condition, but it's your relationship with your body.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a medical condition. This happens to all women. It's kind of like getting your period. It's like calling your period a medical condition. It's not. It's something that happens.
And
to
honestly, even if it is a medical condition,
is
still...
puberty a medical condition?
It's
It's not.
But,
But
my thought here is
What?
that it still affects relationship. I mean, it's something important. No matter how you frame it, whether
Right.
you do medical or a transition in life or whatever, it still highly affects relationship.
Right.
Because actually that leads into the rest of the show. You get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh,
See?
good.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Mr.
like
Segway,
that?
I'm going to call him from now
That's
on.
me. I'm just kind of prepping things.
Yeah, but I'm going to talk about other
Other
things
things,
too.
I know, but
Okay,
still,
just,
Right.
Okay,
In case you want to refer back.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Go
how
ahead.
we work it.
Talk about something.
So let's see. We have in the news. I just saw it on the top of my screen, on my computer, that some plastic surgeon did his daughter's boob job. It's in the Huffington Post. If you don't believe me, I didn't get to read the article.
Yeah,
Mainly
no.
because it was like, ew.
You're just hurting my head.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Just hurting my head.
There's just so many things wrong with that.
Yeah.
One, I didn't get to find out how old the daughter was, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna assume she's young.
Yeah. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I mean, I wouldn't want my 70-something-year-old dad right now to do my boob job. Not that he's a plastic surgeon. Even more so, I don't want him to do my boob job. I don't know. It's just, I guess on some levels you could say that oh, she trusts him so much, and he's like, I don't want anybody else to touch my baby. But then you just gotta wonder about the family dynamics on that one.
Yeah, on the other level, it's...
Daddy admired my boobs.
Yes, right. Yes, I didn't make you right. Your boobs ain't big enough.
Wow, didn't even look at that level, but wow, that's gross.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen
Or
like
lopsided or whatever
yeah.
it is. That's...
I've seen what is it, the Beverly Hills plastic surgery, the plastic surgeon show on TV, and when they're like measuring your boobs and stuff, they're like totally like
Yeah, oh yeah.
handling you.
Yeah. Lisa Morris Frame is here.
Yay! Hello. So that's just nasty. I think that it goes back down to family boundaries, because what we're going to be talking about today is dealing with crises in a relationship. And I'm not talking about like he cheated on you. That's a crisis. Let's deal with it. Yeah, that is.
It is, yeah.
But that's not always that common.
Yeah.
And yes, the Masters and Johnson numbers, or what is it, 80-something% of men cheat or whatever, which at this point I think is really inflated.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But I think
in
the
hindsight.
crisis that we're
talking about
about
normal
right,
crises.
things that you can't assign blame to within the
Right. We're
family,
talking
no.
about things that will happen. It will happen. It's not a question of will it or won't it. It will happen, and how are you going to deal with it? You know, we're talking about things like illness. We're talking about things like, you know, loss of a job or loss of money or, you know, money being tight. And that's, everybody's going through that nowadays. We're talking about, you know, something happens with your kids, God forbid. You know, I can't even mention that because I totally get old.
Yeah, right. That one's a.
Even though we've been through it,
Oh yeah.
you know, we know that it does happen. We're
Most
talking
parents have been through some type of illness with their kids.
right,
Whether it's, you know, the first cold that they ever get, you know, to something
or
more
getting
severe.
them diagnosed with autism,
Right.
or finding out that they have diabetes, or you know, things like that.
Right.
You know, like knowing what your kid may die of.
Yeah.
You know, or things like tragedy in your family. One of your family members dies all of a sudden in a tragedy, or success. Oh, monkey wrench. Success is a big one. You know, working too much because you're successful, not being at home because you're successful.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of these things create crises in the
Right.
family. It destabilizes the unit. And
Yeah, I guess success has the same effect as one of the people being sick.
yeah,
It completely takes,
It takes
the person out of
the equation.
Yeah.
know, how do you deal with it? You know, and I talk to a lot of moms whose husband work outside of the home in the sense that, you know, they have to travel a lot and they have to handle all of the kids by themselves
Right.
and all of the housework stuff. I'm sorry, we're about to have a tragedy in our family because our 5-year-old apparently can't get his stuff together.
Right.
Um,
I'll go.
so, yeah, Ricky's about to have a tragedy and he doesn't know it yet.
Richard?
5, 4,
Get
3,
over there.
2,
Oh,
1.
no, no, you were
Okay,
over
he's not gonna have a tragedy.
Walk.
Anyway, so
Not scared. Go down here.
this is you know, I think about it because we went through this. We've gone through it many times. We've been married for 23 years, so obviously there've been many tragedies. I know. I mean, off the bat, when Paul hurt his back so much that he was paralyzed, that was a good one. In December 2005, our best friend, and when I say our best friend, it was my best friend, you know, outside of my relationship, Paul's best friend outside the relationship, my daughter's, you know, really good friend. She adored our son. You know, this is before Ricky. You know, she just up and died. Like, suddenly. And dealing with that as a family.
What birthday was
The day before my 8-year-old's second birthday.
Yeah.
Day before.
Yeah.
The day before my 40th birthday. I mean, like
Yeah.
3 days before my 40th birthday.
Which is all a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
Just to get a little
You know,
what the
just
dynamics
to make it even
on that
more
one
tragic,
were.
you know, and it was like there was no questions. It was just all of a sudden, oh, she had a massive heart attack and died.
Yeah.
Very tragic. What other things? Being sick,
Mm-hmm.
surgeries.
We've both done our little
Yeah.
hospital-y things.
Yeah.
Right.
Paul had such bad pneumonia that he only had 25% of his lungs working, and
I forgot. I actually have 2 that I can play. I'm bad.
and he was 3 actually. I'll give you the third one too.
Uh-oh.
See, he
Third
doesn't
one.
remember these things.
The pneumonia was
That was a big
worst
one because that was like a week in the hospital, and
Yeah.
only because he wanted to leave the hospital
Yeah.
because doctors wanted to keep him.
I was stubborn.
Um,
I didn't want to go to the hospital.
but the doctors were talking about, you know, heart failure or whatever, and this one's going, no, I could just, you know, take my cough medicine at home, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Trying to go to work.
Trying to go to work.
Yeah.
The other one is when you had your accident and hurt your head.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't remember that. Why? He had a head injury.
It's because I hurt my head.
But
That one was fast.
yeah, I know. But the long-term one was the one where he hurt his back.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know why it was he couldn't move his legs.
Yeah.
And that was for a good 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was, what's going to happen, what caused this,
Right.
why, and all that.
Right. And the back recovery took a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. After
That
we
was a
figured
little bit
out
on
what
the
it
slow
was,
side.
then we weren't so
Yeah.
concerned, but it took 2 years for him to be Paul again.
yeah.
So-
it took me 6 months to be able
To walk without sliding his
normally.
legs.
Yeah.
That was really,
Yeah.
that was a really good Igor walking shuffle.
And that was
Get
all
going.
because I was printing checks.
Shh, shut up.
No, I was saving babies from burning buildings.
He was fighting off a mountain lion.
That's right. Yeah. And it was the injuries.
Yes, it was leaning over to print checks at work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I ain't saying he's old. I'm not saying it. He's just better. He's just more,
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway.
Segmented.
segmented. Anyway, so crisis happens.
Mm-hmm.
And as a therapist, I have worked with way too many couples, and I have dealt with too many individuals going through crises as individuals.
Yes.
And this is why marriages fail. This is why relationships fail.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that my mom taught me before I got married, well, no, not way before that, when I learned how to drive, okay? And you have to know that my mom back then was a bit of a spitfire and stuff like that. I was 15, and my mom did something like, I can't keep taking you to the DMV and stuff, and this sounds like so much work, and it's summer school right now. I was only 15, so we're just gonna get you your license. And I'm like, Mom, I have to wait till I'm 16 because that's
Doesn't really work
when
that
it's
way.
legal. And my mom's like, Nah, don't worry about it. So
Legal Smeagol.
yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with my life.
Yeah.
So I started driving when I was 15. Actually, technically, I started driving when I was 14. I know. My mom.
Yeah, you got the license at.
I got my license at 15, so I
15.
was legal at 15 even though I wasn't old
Yeah.
enough. I know. Such an incredible life. So,
One
my
of the
mother,
things she taught you.
yeah,
That's
one of
what-
the things that she taught me, and when you're driving, is to remember that you're the only sane person in the road of crazy. Everybody else is crazy except for you. So, assuming that shit's going to happen to you and being prepared for it. We talk about being an offensive driver, being a defensive driver, the idea of being both at the same time. Knowing, anticipating the crazy person's move, that kind of thing. So, that's an incredible lesson to learn because it's also, it was teaching me to be responsible. It was teaching me, to think ahead. And I took that philosophy, and I brought it into our marriage. And I remember before we even got married, we discussed this, that, we are an island in a sea of crazy.
Right.
That we are a unit, we are together, and there's the craziness all around us. But wherever we are, we're that island of solitude.
Yes.
And we are together.
Sane island.
That little sane island, and whatever, go ahead, judge how sane or insane we
Yeah.
are. But together, it's our sanity. And it's our refuge. And it's our place. I said refuge, not refuse. Okay.
I don't know. The house is a little messy right now.
It is. It's a place of peace, and that we create our peace, and that stuff can happen all around us. Life can life at us from every direction, but together we are sane, and we bring each other sanity, and we bring each other peace. And when one goes, only one of us is allowed to be crazy at a time. I mean, that is a strict rule that we follow.
We actually
Both of us
had
can't
that
do
one.
it.
No.
And that's the way we keep the island peaceful. If there's any secret to our relationship, that would be it.
Yeah.
Okay?
We don't both worry about money at the same time.
Can't. The other one has to be there to talk the other one down.
That's right. Yeah.
We can't worry about health or the kids or whatever. The other one has to be the voice of reason.
Yes.
You know, but
Voice of reason, voice of hope, voice of optimism, all of those, voices that you need to hear when, you're in your little, like you tend to write, you've been writing about
inner Nazi.
When you're in your little inner Nazi loop and it's difficult to get yourself out, then you need the other person who's your,
to lend you a hand to pull yourself out of the sea of crazy.
Uh-huh.
Very simple. Think of, it's like the metaphor holds true in any situation.
Right.
I think so. The problem is that this is what happens. And then we are taught this by our parents. They were taught this by their parents. And ad infinitum. I don't know when. I don't know if the cavemen did it. I don't know if Neanderthal said, oh crap, I didn't get the mammoth, and started yelling at his wife. I don't know. I will assume so.
You're right.
Okay? One of the things we do in relationship, which is probably the most detrimental, nastiest, doesn't make sense, but everybody does it, kind of thing, is we're mean to the people we love.
Yes. You always hurt the one you love.
Yeah. And we write music about it.
Yes.
We
didn't make this up.
Yeah. You're mean to the one you love. You had a shitty day. Well, I'm going to take it out on my wife. Or I'm going to take it out on my husband. I'm going to take it out on my kids. I'm going to kick the dog. And we may laugh about it, but I can walk out. Well, no, actually, where we live, there's not that many people. But I can walk down the street, knock on the door, and everybody that I talk to is going to be, oh, yeah, that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you try kicking their dog, it'd be bad.
Yeah, they don't.
Got big
no.
dogs.
It's like I could be mean to my family, but nobody else could be mean to my family.
Mm-hmm.
And why do we do it? Why are we pissy? Why, I love people. I really just find people fascinating. And, being involved in social media and stuff.
Shaky on people.
Yeah,
Personally.
he's more misanthropic. He just doesn't trust you guys.
I know where you've been.
It's true. But I'm like looking at Twitter or Facebook or whatever and seeing people complain about their spouses. Because, he's, oh my God, what he just said to me, or what she just said to me, or why does she treat me like that? I have no idea why people treat each other like that.
Yes.
I really don't. How can you say I love you and then be a bitch to them? Or how can you say I love you and be an ass and be mean? Okay. The whole thing about being mean was sparked because I was watching Storage Wars. Remember?
Yes. Yep.
And
we love this show.
This is just like watching the pathologists.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. We dissect them. We.
Oh yeah. Laugh because they're so
great,
stupid. Things like that.
So now.
So I'm watching the show.
Sparks writing.
Yeah, it sparks right. Not always. Yeah, everything's inspired by Storage Wars.
Yes.
Not really.
No.
There was one episode where there was a stack of boxes and it was the couple, Brandy and Jared.
Right.
Okay? Brandy's like on the outside of the unit, Jared's on the inside of the unit. There's a big, tall stack of boxes. Somehow, the boxes, I think they were actually like crepe things, fell on Brandy and kind of just like, hit her arm.
Mm-hmm.
Did he, as the husband, rush out and say, hey, honey, you okay? No. Joked about it. Never asked her if she was okay. And, and granted, I understand the editing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even the choice to edit it like that,
Right.
I take offense to. I take offense to, we see that as normal.
Right.
How-
Somewhere along the
how
line,
funny is
somebody
it?
thought that was a nice, normal.
Yeah. How funny
Moment.
is it that shit fell on her? Ha ha ha.
And
She
he
could have gotten
laughed
hurt.
about it.
And he kind of chuckled about it.
Yeah.
And
Now, realize, we're not saying that I have a sense of humor. you know,
Oh,
shit
good
happens,
God, you know.
You start with, I think that we've all done it. Somebody falls down, you do the, oh my God, are you okay? And you hold the laugh in.
Until they say,
Because-
yeah, I'm fine, and then go ahead and laugh.
Yeah, right, then you're good.
See, we have a sense of humor, but
But there's
a certain
order
amount.
to
No,
that.
there's a certain amount of care
Yes.
that is lacking when you don't ask the question,
Right.
"Are you okay?"
You hop right to the laugh.
You know, and
Give me
couples
coffee.
lose that, and that is like one of the first signs that you ain't gonna stick around together. It's coffee day. Neither one of us slept well.
Oh yeah. And like I've been drinking coffee like I
Yeah,
have to.
Paul's like mainlining the coffee today. So, it's that lack of care, that lack of consideration of one another. Okay, things like I didn't call. I'm coming home late and I didn't call. And not understanding why that's such a big deal. I remember when we were first married. I'm a Latin girl. I'm also incredibly insecure. Well, definitely was back then. And we have certain habits, and one of our habits is that I kiss you when you come home, and I kiss you when you leave, and I kiss you all the time. And that's just the thing. First get married, Paul would go off to work at 5:30 in the morning. I didn't have to work for another 3 hours. And so he would just leave without saying goodbye because he didn't want to wake me up. See, that was his consideration. The idea like, oh, if I wake you up, that's a horrible thing. For me, the horrible thing was for him to leave without giving him a kiss. So how do you deal with it? Well, in normal relationship parlance, you would fight, right? Because that's what normal relationships do. Because people who just communicate are just, that doesn't happen.
Steph's there.
Well,
Stephanie.
hello.
Hi, Stephanie. Go ahead.
So,
Or JD. I can't really tell, but okay.
so then, how do you deal with that? Well, we would just talk. I just told him, you know what? Before you leave, wake me up with a kiss. Say goodbye. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but I didn't want to wake you up. And it's like, I don't care. I want you to wake me up. Now, there didn't have to be an argument. There didn't have to be anything. Now, when you throw that in the idea of crisis, we hurt the ones we love. This is what I like to call the victim response. Okay? Because when there's a crisis, when there is stress in the family, when life is lifing at you. I've been saying that for 20 something years as a therapist, because life will do things to you because that's what life does. Mm-hmm. There is no, God, I'm not going to say, I didn't say that. Good God, that got me in trouble back in 1984 by saying that. No, it was 1986. Sorry.
Actually, I'm going to cut that part right there and put it everywhere. Lee says, there is no God. There it is.
God, please. There is no God sitting there fucking with your life. This is all just part of your life. Stuff happens. Mm-hmm. You rise above it. Well, the normal response, and I say normal only because it's average. Okay? If you know your statistics, out of 100 cases, let's say 40 of them all kind of bunch up in the middle and behave the same way, that's a normal response. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that it's right.
No.
That doesn't mean that it's healthy. Mm-hmm. That means that it's normal.
Right.
Know the difference.
It's the one that people do.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
The normal response to crises is, oh God, why'd this happen to me?
Yes. Everybody takes crisis individually.
Everybody.
And
it doesn't matter who you are. You will do that.
Right.
There is a moment of, oh crap, why me?
I hurt my back. I got pneumonia. My wife was in the hospital. They're always, me statements.
Mm-hmm. My baby is being diagnosed with autism, Asperger's stuff. Right. This one's like, no, I've gone through so much with her. What? Seriously? Yeah, but you can't argue with it because that's how we respond to it. However, that's, all fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to bitch at you for reacting,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we react.
And honestly, I'll even
And there's
say
a certain, and I want to,
Okay.
I'm going to say that there is a certain healthy part of that.
That's where I was about
Okay.
to say. Yes, that is the
Right.
healthy place to start.
And why is it healthy? It's healthy because at that moment you are taking a slight ownership of
Right.
this stress,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that you have a part in this stress.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not this aloof, disconnected. Oh, it's not me. Just whatever.
Right.
No, you are part of this.
As a matter of fact, that is where
You are in the milieu.
Right, you are standing.
I just used a big psych
Very
word.
nice. You're standing on the razor's edge at that point between victim and responsibility. So it's a good place to be, depending on what the next.
Well, I won't even say razor's edge. You are totally bathing in the pool of victimhood on that one.
Okay.
Um,
Yes. But at some point, you're going to make the transition if you're healthy.
Right.
And
See,
that's where we're going.
I'm going to go out on a limb
Okay.
as I get comfy
Okay.
and do things with my hands that you can't see. Ha
Yes, we
Um,
keep the camera at a certain level.
ha. I'm going to go out on a limb and say most marriages fail because of this. Most marriages fail because we stay in the victim response.
Right.
Most marriages
I will
fail
go with that.
because you can't get out of this is happening to me. When one of the partners cheats, you get into the victim response as the cheated.
Right.
Okay? Because, oh, he did it to me, or she did this to me. If you can never get out of the victim response, then you have no hope that this relationship will survive
Right.
this. Because at the end of the day, it takes two. At the end of the day, if he or she cheated on you, you had something to do with it.
Right.
And now, I'm not saying blaming the victim, because, I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm saying that you have to get to the point where you see outside of the victim response.
Actually, this was even a conversation you had about domestic violence.
Right.
And
This gets me in
understand-
trouble.
Right. You need to understand.
Right.
Both of us are, I guess, domestic violence advocates.
We don't
worked in it.
advocate.
Yeah, we don't advocate domestic
No, we
violence.
talk about peace in
Right.
relationships.
We
But
have worked
definitely
in the field.
we definitely advocate for more treatment for people who have domestic
Right.
violence in their relationship. Violence of any kind in a relationship is horrible and should be, condemned at any,
Absolutely.
from the simplest shove,
Absolutely.
from grabbing an arm.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Drew got a lot of shit a few months back when they were showing the Kim Kardashian thing, and where she basically punches this huge guy, her husband at the time, him in the chest, and she's just like whacking at him, and he went off on her and said that's domestic violence.
Now
And
we're both looking at it, going,
like, yes,
hell yeah,
you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
People give Dr. Drew a lot of crap. Dr. Drew is a brilliant man.
Yes.
Everybody thinks now he's just a glory hole. The thing is that people are reacting to him because what he's saying is striking a nerve.
Right.
People are reacting to him because what they're saying is making people go, "Oh shit, that's yeah. I don't want you to get in there. This is my secret and this is my shame." Okay. Treating your spouse with any kind of physicality that isn't affection or love is domestic violence.
Right. So
You don't grab at
Right.
people.
So
So,
when we're talking about responsibility,
yeah.
people have a tendency to equate responsibility and blame. They are not the same thing.
No.
Taking responsibility does not mean you're taking blame. So when we're talking about domestic violence, of course, this is because people equate that. We say, what is your
What's your responsibility in the
this?
situation? Now,
Because
as
you
some,
create your
Right.
your relationships.
I happen to have a friend who is probably one of the most well-known domestic violence advocates in the nation.
Yes.
And in fact, she actually works for President Obama now
Hmm.
on women's issues, and very proud of her.
Yes.
we've had this conversation. Now, this is a woman who, who's created shelters all over the country and blah, blah, blah. And I've had this conversation with her. It's like, working with domestic violence in the sense that I sat there and did therapy with the guys who smacked women. Okay? And can I be any clearer than that? Mm-hmm. Sitting there, listening to their stories, 9 times out of 10, the woman was involved in the violence. Mm-hmm. She smacked back.
Yeah.
And that system, that dynamic between a couple is just so sick.
Right.
And here's this guy getting treatment, and she's at home, feeling pretty chuffed, feeling pretty good about herself, because he's the one in trouble, but she's fine. So there has to be an equanimity to how we treat this kind of stuff. And that's just a PSA from coupledom.
Yes.
I think that the treatment of domestic violence is sorely lacking.
Yes. But it's in the responsibility.
Right.
Things change. It's when, the reason why I brought up the domestic violence is because it really is an extreme case. I mean, it's a good, everybody can really kind of relate to
well, it does mess up a family.
The moment that, in this case, we'll say if it's a woman who's being abused, the moment that the woman takes responsibility for her life is usually the moment that she gets out of the abusive relationship.
Or they could actually fix it. I'm a hopeful person.
They change the relationship.
But that's not what we do.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that we're clear. What happens in regular relationships is that we wallow.
Right. We stay in the victim response.
We wallow. We are inactive. We brood. We go into the why me. I mean, sitting, watching a family, their son had just been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Walking in to see how they're doing, they're in the hospital. The dad crying. Then all of a sudden, because I guess it wasn't dramatic enough, gets on his knees. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, there was a moment where we looked around to see if he was being filmed.
Yeah.
And he said, "God, why are you doing this to me?" And then looking over at the kid, and looking at the kid's mom who's standing there with the nurse, because they're figuring out his diabetes and how she is going to help him learn to manage it.
Right.
Daddy's there with the why me.
Yeah. Now remember, we're okay with the why me thought process in the background. We are not okay with the why me in front of the kid when you're daddy.
Or with the person who's hurt.
Right.
When Paul was in the hospital and he couldn't move, if I would have stood there next to him and really let him into what was going on in my head, or if he would have let me into what was going on in his head,
right,
we might as well have been, mopped up because we were both in this. But we had the wherewithal to do the whole, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it.
Because honestly, if I knew what was in her head, or what I can guess, I would have probably left the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he could have,
I would have dragged my ass out of there one way or the other, doing the, oh no, I'm fine, crawling on my,
using his non-existent lips.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's the kind of husband he is.
Yeah. But it was the fact that we were
there for each other.
Right, in this together.
Yeah.
That, made me be willing to get treatment instead of just plugging my ears and...
Whereas, I've seen my parents in the similar situation where one of them's in the hospital, and either the healthy one is giving the patient shit, or the patient is giving the healthy one shit.
Yeah.
And it's this constant barrage of, did you do that? Oh, I bet you didn't do that. Rah, rah, rah. And this fighting. And this is how they talk to each other. And just sitting there going, why the hell are you doing that? It doesn't make any sense. And this is all coming from that insecurity of, I don't feel good.
Right.
Be better already. But you see, we don't say it.
Right.
We don't use our words, you know. It's like we tell kids, use your words, not your hand, not your fists.
Yeah.
Use your words. Don't be mean. We teach them all these lessons about don't bully, don't be mean to each other, whatever. But we don't tell them that when you get married or when you're in a relationship, be nice. Just be nice. Is this such a hard concept, people, that we can't be nice to the people that we literally say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love them, then be nice to them.
Right.
It's like another pearl of wisdom from coupledom. Why our relationship works. We're nice to each other.
Yeah.
Always.
Crazy, isn't it?
Even when the day is super shitty, we are nice to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, he didn't make my day super shitty. I didn't make his day super shitty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we stay together. Because if I did make his day super shitty, then he shouldn't stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
You see how simple these things are? It's like relationship gurus? No, it's really just math.
Yes.
It's total math.
Are we going to talk about marriage as corporation kind of stuff?
Go ahead.
Because
It's not on my list. Go
yeah,
ahead.
one of our things that we promote is seeing your marriage as a corporation. Hey, you're in it together. It is not a partnership. It is not 50-50. It is 100%, 100%. The marriage is an entity unto itself. The reason I bring it up is let's take a kind of a 1950s style marriage.
Just like our
okay?
marriage.
That's right.
Exactly. Like
Husband goes out and works. Wife stays home and cooks, okay? Giving you the extreme. He has a bad day at work. His boss is an asshole. He comes home. If the marriage is a corporation, then his boss is fucking with the whole marriage. Okay? So he has no reason to come home and be mad at the wife. He should be coming home and saying, you know what? This is what the asshole did to us today. And her response is, what an asshole. Okay?
Wait a minute. What 1950s couple is this?
I don't know. It's a bad foul-mouthed one. I think the Cleavers. Because she was like
Bewitched.
Bewitched. That's another one.
Yeah. Bewitched is very close to bitch. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's like, what'd he do to you?
Yeah.
And that's not 50s, that's 70s, but that's okay.
Yeah, whatever. But you kind of see what I mean by they're in it together with that conversation. Right. Okay, I'm kind of giving you the big but it's your marriage standing there, your relationship standing there
it's
against
you and me
everybody
against
else.
the world, baby. Yeah. That's really what it is. Yeah. It's okay to have the victim response when you're in crisis at the beginning. Right. At some point, you need to come together and share how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. Not from a place of blame, but this is how I'm feeling right now. Right. So that the other one can jump out of it. One of the things we talked about on Thursdays now, we're writing about things like how to stay calm, how to stay relaxed. Yeah. This whole month I've been writing about specifically getting rid of that stupid voice in your head, that inner Nazi, that one that takes you to the worst case scenario all the time.
Right.
Oh, he didn't answer the phone. He's dead. That's your inner Nazi. Okay?
That's my inner Nazi.
I know what your inner Nazi is. Sometimes you don't want to hear what the other person's inner Nazi is because then you get really scared that their inner Nazi is really psychotic. Yeah. So, sharing with one another that these are the biggest fears I'm having rolling around in my head. Because that's what happens to us. We become trapped in the victim response because our inner Nazi is running the show. Mm-hmm. And it's telling us, oh, you're doomed. Yeah. You're going to be alone forever. Mm-hmm. Because that's all the inner Nazi says. It doesn't say things like, hey, have another cup of coffee. Right. It doesn't do that. It tells you the worst of the worst. Right. Okay? This is based on things it's seen in the world. Right. It's not coming out of the blue. It's not spontaneously generating negativity. This is what we're surrounded with. And the inner Nazi is just on a loop, and it just keeps reminding us, we're doomed, other shoe's going to fall, we're all going to die, da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. That's how it is.
That's why, okay, go.
Are you messing with me? Okay, that's why what? Go ahead. Where were you going to go?
Oh, no. That's why you want to have that freak out at the beginning. That's why we're saying the victim response at the very beginning, that's fine. Because what you're doing is you're hearing the inner Nazi without necessarily agreeing. You don't have to agree.
You're just reacting to
Right,
it.
you're reacting. You're hearing it so that you can go to the next step.
Right. Which is telling your partner, telling your family members, without having to like get angry with them beforehand,
Right.
telling them, you know what? I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super scared. And funny thing is, people, the moment that you share that you're scared, something happens to you.
Yeah. Always.
Every single time. It's like it just starts melting away. You might stay a little fearful, but in acknowledging the fear, you take control of the fear.
Right.
Okay? Also, what happens is that when you allow the conversation of I'm scared, you are forced to do what the inner Nazi can't have you do.
Right.
Focus out.
Mm-hmm.
Because since you care about your family, since you care about your husband, your wife, your lover, whatever, since you care about these people, you want to help them.
Right.
So by focusing on them, all of a sudden the inner Nazi, their little voice gets smaller and smaller and smaller, where you could barely ever listen to them. And that is like I tell people I keep my shit in check constantly. If I start having thoughts that aren't happy thoughts, forwarding thoughts, if they are thoughts that are going to keep me up at night, I quash that shit as fast as it starts. Because I don't want to waste a minute of my life, another minute of my life, because I spent a whole chunk of my life listening to that bastard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spend another minute of my life perseverating on the stupid things that is rolling around in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, if he tells me, I'm upset, I'm a little stressed, the moment he says that, I can't be in my shit anymore. I have to be on task. It is my job to carry the ball. So I have to focus out. If I am focusing out, if I am not, caring right now about how I'm doing, there's a certain amount of, it's like when people say, oh, well, but don't you need to focus on yourself? Yes, most definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But in those moments, it is safer for you to focus out so that when you come back in, you're feeling all full of yourself because, look at, I just took care of the person I loved.
Right.
They're doing better now. You feel good about yourself. So when you focus on your inner Nazi, when you're feeling good about yourself, the inner Nazi has no footing.
Yeah.
The inner Nazi can't play the victim game because you're already taking responsibility for creating peace in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is one of the problems that happens in couples with the victim stuff. We get pissy with one another. And one of the things that I wrote, which I'm very, very proud of, is life is too fucking short to be pissy. Okay?
Yes.
And I say it like that so that the point comes, it's like you get it, okay? If you go to coupledom.com, go to that post, and you will see a beautiful picture of the sun peeking through the clouds. I took that picture.
Yeah.
It's a lovely picture. Print that out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Print it out. Put it on your wall in your bedroom so that you see it every single day. We have this tendency as a couple, and I'm going to talk specifically to the married couples. I'm going to specific long-term relationship, living together couples.
Right.
For those domestic partnerships that aren't allowed to get married, someday, soon. We have this tendency of, oh, I was stressed today, so I'm not going to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right.
Sex is great for stress. Oh, I've got a little bit of a headache. My neck hurts a little bit. Why are you going to say no to sex then? We know scientifically that there's nothing better for a headache than sex. Hell, when you have a migraine, the third recommendation is masturbation.
Yeah. Yes. Cover
Caffeine.
your eyes.
Yeah. Caffeine some sort of like, anti-inflammatory, and masturbation.
Right.
We take out our pissiness in the world with our spouse, with our partner. Your partner didn't bother going to the store and get that gallon of milk, and now tomorrow morning you don't know what to give the kids for breakfast. Fucker.
Yeah. How dare he?
How dare you? So you don't have sex. That'll teach him. Withholding affection, withholding sex is the worst thing to do in a relationship, specifically in the eye of the storm. You're having a crisis. This is what we all do. And I put us in this. The last thing you want to do is have sex. Stuff is going on. Last thing you want to do is have sex. You lost a member of your family, or like in our case when we lost our friend. Last thing you want to do is have sex because you feel shitty.
Right.
Well, that's the best time. That's the best time to say, you know what? Let's just forget about that and let's focus on us. Let's just be, hedonistic and make ourselves feel better right now.
Right.
Because that's the one thing you guys could do for each other that nobody else could do for you. Well, technically, they're not supposed to. How's that?
Yeah.
We'll be specific about it. Okay? And yet, we do that constantly. We watch TV, and every frickin' show that shows a marriage, there's always somebody withholding sex.
Right. And we're not talking about, dad dies, let's fuck kind of thing. We're talking about, the...
That'd be a little bit tough.
Yes. We're talking about the normal stresses of life.
Right.
And how you just bring it into your relationship and take it out on your partner.
Right.
Yeah. For no reason.
For no reason.
I mean, if you could take all of those minutes that you were pissy and add them up.
Wow, what a waste. And and I speak from my experience of, like, when, and I laugh now because he didn't notice. But like, being angry with him and laying there in bed and he's snoring and I've got my back to him, and it's like, well, I'm teaching you, look at me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't notice.
Right. The only thing that happened was that she didn't sleep
Sleep
very
that
well
night.
that night.
Didn't sleep.
Which honestly, when we start talking about systems and cycles and that kind of stuff, she didn't sleep. Therefore, she was all grouchy the next day, which didn't really help the pissiness.
Which worsened
right.
everything. Well, at the end of all of it, who was getting punished? Me. And that's what happens when people stay in their victim response. Oh, so he forgot to bring the gallon of milk home. Oh, so he didn't call your mom and wish her a happy birthday, or didn't do something for you the way he promised he'd do it. So what?
Right.
So what? At the end of the day, is it worth it? Is it worth it to ruin your evening? Is it worth it to punish him?
Right.
This is the thing. When life sets you, this is what you've got.
And again, we're talking within kind of normal boundaries. If he keeps forgetting your name, then, you might have some different issues here. It's like, forgot to pick up the milk.
Yeah, that's
Great.
one thing.
Has an aversion to milk and will never go into the store to get it. You might want to,
Yeah, I'm not going to get pissy about that. I'll be
Right.
like, time to take you to a psychiatrist.
Exactly. I mean, but there are different responses.
Right.
The idea is, what is, how is it triggering you, and how important is it? Okay.
Okay, good. Found a clue. Okay.
Okay, scram, dude.
Get out of here. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
Okay.
lay
Thank
it
you very
down
much.
and scram.
Bye-bye now.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
See, I could be angry with him. I could respond. It's like, oh, he's ruining the show. But no.
No, especially since he's been on most of the shows at this
It's
point.
true. His little head pops in at some point. I think that at the end of this all, if you don't pop yourself out of victim response during a crisis,
Right.
you never get to the good part,
Mm-hmm.
which is solution focused.
Right.
People who are solution focused are taking responsibility. I'm not saying it's my fault, because that's not responsibility. I'm just going to reiterate what he said at the beginning of the show. But it's about taking action. Responsibility is a verb. It's not.
Right.
It's not a noun like victim is. You know, I get done at. Responsibility is action. Is doing something about it. It's like, okay, how are we going to deal with this?
Actually, we've got some time. I would also like to point out what's it called, paradoxical intention and that kind
Sure.
of stuff.
I love paradoxical intentions.
It says when you give voice to the fear,
Yeah.
and you start talking it out with a partner who's also giving voice to the fear, and you're working through it in a solution-focused manner. One of the things is things like paradoxical intention, and go ahead, explain that. So
Paradoxical intention is basically taking things to the outrageous, you know, making fun of that fear, so that when you hear it back to you, like, you know, what we tend to do is we joke a lot. We laugh. There's a lot of humor in our relationship. So if I'm like, you know, oh no, I thought, you know, it's like, oh gosh, if when I went to visit our daughter in Colorado and you were here with the boys, I figured, you know, I'd come home and find you guys all in, you know, skeletons and,
Right.
you know, had gone to cannibalism because I wasn't here to take care of you. Now, I say it, and then he responds with something funny to basically expand on this fear that I had.
Right.
When I hear it back, it sounds crazy.
Right. Because see, realize your inner Nazi is always speaking from negative intention.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the point that when we write disaffirmations, this is what it's about. A lot of these disaffirmations may seem wacky and crazy, but you'd be amazed at how many people will tell us, oh my God, that's exactly how I think. Which, of course, freaks us the frick out because it's like, are you serious? But when they hear how crazy that sounds, they make that, you know, this is where the paradoxical is.
Right.
They'll hear their craziness and go, ooh, shoot, I don't want to. Yeah, that's not true. That's funny. You know, so then you stop having those irrational, this is why we call them irrational beliefs.
Right. So this is actually a therapeutic technique.
Very much so.
Is to take it and just keep spinning it until you get to...
Right.
You know,
One of the things that we do as therapists is we play the if that then what game, and we take it from A to Z.
Right.
We take it to the point that you always have to take it all the way to the point where you die.
Right.
And sometimes if
the way it
person's,
always ends.
yeah, but if sometimes the person's really crazy, I'll let them take it even further than that. Okay? So it's like, okay, so if you lose your job, then what?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'll have a fight with my wife. And if you have a fight with your wife, then what? Then she won't have sex with me. And if you don't have sex with her, then what? Oh, at some point I'm going to have to cheat on her. And if you cheat on her, then what? Well, then she'll frickin' leave me. Okay, and if she leaves you, then what? Then I'll have no job and no love and no kids. And if you have no job, no love, and then there have no point to live. And if you have no point to live, then what? Then I'll kill myself. And then if you're really, really messed up, I'll go, and then if you kill yourself, then what? Then my kids won't have any father, and blah, 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 blah. And if your kids don't have any father, then what? Oh, then they're going to end up being hoodlums and, you know, going to jail. You see, it's like you take it to the extreme. You take it to the extreme and realize, wow. Then you go, okay, so it is better to lose my job than end up having my kids in jail.
Right.
Okay? That's where the paradoxical intention is like, go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is nothing.
Compared
Losing
to,
a job
right.
compared to being dead and knowing that my kids are in jail.
Right. And then also, you know, within that, you get to start dissecting
Where the fears are.
where the fears are, and taking things from irrational to rational. You know, because again, we're talking about being solution focused. We're talking about problem solving. So, you know, you lose the job. It is realistic that you're not going to have money.
Right.
You know, that is job, money, they go
Right.
together. Is it realistic that your kids are going to start, you know, turning to prostitution? Probably not. You know,
Well,
I mean,
it depends on your kids,
it
really.
depends on the kids, you know, what they want to bring in money, but, you know.
Maybe it's just dancing, you know?
So you start filling in the gaps with the rational, logical steps. Well, well, should we get food stamps? Well, I would hate to get food stamps.
Well, let's go through it again.
Right.
If you
Is
don't
it better
get
to
food
start?
stamps or have a kid dancing on a pole.
Yeah, and then you
And
start...
this is what we call reality therapy.
Yeah.
There's a whole, there's a whole theory of therapy called reality therapy, where all you're doing is pointing out the irrational and showing them what the reality is.
Yeah.
Now, if your spouse is sick, you hear the prognosis. The problem is that when we hear the prognosis, our inner Nazi is still...
Right. And it goes right to, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Or she's dead.
So the reality therapy reminds you, no, don't go to there, stay here. And if we're being responsible, then you have to stay here. Okay? But acknowledge that that is a possibility. And that's the fucked up part.
Right.
You know, we constantly are in denial that the inevitability of every relationship is that one of us is going to die.
Yes.
And that is the thing that you never want to acknowledge. And that's a good part of that. You know, denial in some bits are good.
Right.
But when you're face to face with it, you have to acknowledge it, air the fear, and say, okay, I'm so scared. And then become solution focused.
Right.
I don't want to get all maudlin and all choked up talking about this.
But even within that, that example, okay, take the really bad example. The prognosis is death.
Right.
Okay? Acknowledging it, understanding it, pulling out the irrational and putting in the rational. The rational is you've got 6 months. You've got a year. You've got whatever it is. Live it. Because that's where the important part comes in.
Right.
That's where the love comes in. That's where the we are together and we're going to be together until we can't be anymore.
Right. Taking advantage
Right.
of things. You know, being responsible for what the future will hold.
Right. I mean, we've had, what was the guest? I don't remember her name now.
Who, Robin Craig? No, Kim
No.
Malchuk.
Yeah, that's it.
Kim
No,
Malchuk
and that
married
was-
a man who was terminal.
Right, and that was the big lesson. That was the joy in her whole story, was the time between, the time of life before death.
Yeah. Up until like the very end.
Yeah.
And it's that sharing, but we don't want to go there.
Right.
It's just
Okay.
too scary.
Tell a joke.
Cartoon time!
Cartoon time!
Crap.
We have about 3 minutes left.
What did we talk about
3
this
minutes
week?
left.
I know. What did we talk about this week on a couple of them? I don't even remember.
This week?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was something really profound.
Happiness! That's
yeah,
what we talked
we talked about
about.
happiness. You might want to read up on it.
Obviously, we do. We need to read up on it. Yeah, so next week we're going to be talking about keeping the happiness in the relationship.
Okay.
Okay? Years ago, now it's been years, we did the Happiness Manifesto. And we're going to revisit that and expand on keeping that happiness in the relationship.
Yes.
Okay? People don't get it. How do you stay happy all the time?
Right.
Because we do.
We're going to talk about myths of happiness too, because
Right.
I think that's brilliant.
Because you wrote it. Oh my gosh.
No, I just find it interesting though, the messed up beliefs that we have about happiness. So,
Scary.
we'll be talking about that kind of stuff.
And what are we talking about in the relaxation stuff because we're going to start a new month next week. So I got to come up with something new for my relaxation for March. Not sure where it is. So, I don't know. So, yeah. So catch coupledom.com next week. We'll be talking about, I have no idea yet because we haven't even started writing it. You know what? We're going to be talking about homosexuality. We're going to be talking about suicide. We're going to be talking about marriage equality. Because you know what? It's time to get down to brass tacks and decide where you are.
So we are
on
going to
the
do the
set.
stand thing?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Good.
Yeah. Relationships are relationships, people.
That's right.
So thank you for coming. And we love you all. Be happy. Talk to each other. Be nice to each other. Do something nice for your spouse today. Give him a kiss. Give him a snuggle. You know, it's Friday. You know, nothing can be wrong on a Friday.
That's right.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.